Listen to the scary story, The Woman in White, by Wilkie Collins, Level A2. Oxford Reading University.
Part 1.
In the middle of the 19th century, Walter Hartwright, a young poor artist, lived in London. He didn't have a job. One day he went to visit his old friend, Professor Pesca. Pesca was Italian, but he lived in England. "My friend, I have some exciting news," Pesca told Walter. "I have recommended you as a drawing teacher to a rich family. They are ready to offer you the job." For some reason, Walter didn't feel happy about it. "Where do they live?" he asked. "In Limmeridge House, not that far from London," Pesca replied. "The owner's name is Mr. Fairley." "Does he need a teacher for his children?" Walter asked. "No, it's for his nieces," Pesca explained. "They are both about 20 years old." Walter thanked his friend. He felt a little scared, but he didn't know why. The next day he started preparing for his new job. Several days later, Walter went to the countryside, where his mother and sister lived. He wanted to say goodbye before going to Limmeridge House. On his way back, he saw a strange woman. She was wearing a beautiful white dress. She was young and had a pleasant face, but she looked very ill. The woman came up to him. "I'm sorry," she said. She seemed scared. "Could you please tell me if this is the road to London?" "Yes, it is," Walter replied. He was very surprised. "Is there anything I can help you with?" "I had an accident. Could you help me get a carriage?" the woman asked. "Of course," Walter said. "Let's wait a little. I'm sure a carriage will appear soon." After a while, the woman asked him, "Do you know any noblemen in Hampshire?" Walter told her some names of the noble families he knew. "Ah, so you don't know this awful man," she exclaimed. It was strange, but Walter thought that he shouldn't ask any questions. Instead, he told her about his future job at Limmeridge House. "Oh, I know that place," the woman said. "I was happy there. Lady Fairley and her husband were very kind to me." At that moment, a carriage drove up to them. The woman in white got into it and left. Walter was walking towards his house when another carriage stopped by. "Excuse me, sir, have you seen a woman in a white dress here?" the driver asked. For some reason, Walter didn't want to tell him the truth. "No, I haven't," he replied. "Why are you looking for her?" "She has run away from a mental hospital," the driver replied. 2. It was already late at night when Walter arrived at Limmeridge House. In the morning, he came down for breakfast. The large dining room was filled with expensive furniture. A young woman was standing by the window. She had a beautiful figure. However, her face was not quite as beautiful. "Good morning, Mr. Hartwright," she said in a clear, soft voice. "My name is Marian Halcombe. I will be one of your students. Unfortunately, my sister, Miss Laura Fairley, has a headache, so she won't come for breakfast. As for our uncle, Mr. Fairley, he prefers to stay alone in his room. Would you mind joining me?" "Of course," Walter replied with a smile. During breakfast, they talked as if they were old friends. Miss Halcombe was an intelligent and friendly woman. Among other things, Walter told her about the strange meeting with the woman in white. Marian listened with great interest. She was surprised to hear that the woman mentioned Mrs. Fairley. "Mrs. Fairley was our mother," she said slowly. "She was a principal in a local village. Her first husband, my father, was a poor man. The second husband, Mr. Philip Fairley, is the father of Laura. He was very rich. After his death, the house and all his money were left to his daughter. So she is rich and I am poor. But still, we love each other dearly. In the afternoon, Marian and Walter took a walk in the garden. A thin girl in a white dress was sitting there. It was Laura Fairley. She was looking through her drawings. "This girl is so beautiful," Walter thought. "I have almost certainly seen her face before. Or maybe it was just a dream." After dinner, Marian showed Walter a letter. "This is an old letter from my mother to her husband, Mr. Fairley," she explained. "You may find it interesting." The letter told about a new student of Mrs. Fairley. Her name was Anne Catherick. "She is a rather strange girl, but I like her a lot," the letter said. "She comes from a poor family and has almost nothing to wear. So I gave her some of Laura's dresses. Anne is so beautiful in a white dress. Strangely enough, she looks very similar to Laura." The girl on the road, Walter realized. Her face looked similar to Laura's, and their figures look exactly the same. Could she be Anne? Marian asked. Perhaps. I feel like this is a bad sign for Laura's future. Let's keep this a secret, Walter suggested. 3. Several weeks passed. Walter felt like the happiest man in the world. He spent all his time with two fine, intelligent young ladies. Marian became his close friend. As for Laura, Walter was in love with her. He tried to hide his feelings and keep a professional distance. However, Laura also had feelings for her teacher. Marian watched them closely and understood that they were in love. One morning, Walter and the ladies were having breakfast. "Laura, I've seen our uncle today," Marian said. "He told me that we need to prepare the purple room for Monday." Laura's face went white. She started crying and ran out of the room without saying a word. "Is she all right?" Walter asked. "Mr. Hartwright, I need to tell you something," Marian said seriously. She took his hand and continued. "I know that you are in love with my sister, but you have no chance. She is going to marry soon. She has never loved that man, but she promised her father to marry him." Walter's heart was broken. He was almost crying. "I'm sorry for hurting you," Marian said quietly, "but you must leave Limmeridge House immediately. Sir Percival Glyde is going to arrive soon." "Who is Sir Percival?" Walter asked, although he already knew the answer. "He is Laura's future husband. He is a rich nobleman from Hampshire." "Hampshire!" Walter cried. "The girl on the road mentioned a nobleman from that place. It seems like he treated her badly. But no, that's impossible. He cannot be the same man. I think I'm going crazy." 4. Several days later, Laura received a note from Anne Catherick. It contained a strange message. "Please do not marry Sir Percival. Although he appears to be a nice and pleasant person, actually he's an awful man. Your mother was kind to me, so I want you to live happily. That is why I am telling you the truth." "I don't think Anne is right," Marian said. "Sir Percival is a perfect gentleman, and he seems very kind. Anyway, let's ask him and see what he tells us." That evening, Walter had his last dinner with the ladies. He felt a terrible pain in his heart. Before going upstairs, he took Laura's hand and said quietly, Miss Fairley, I promise to be your friend for the rest of my life. I wish you all the possible happiness in the future." "Please, Walter, you must leave me," she replied, her eyes full of tears. Walter realized that her feelings were as strong as his own. The next morning he left Limmeridge House. Soon after that, Sir Percival came to Limmeridge House. He explained the connection he had to Anne Catherick. "Mrs. Catherick, Anne's mother, was my servant," he said. "Anne's mental health has always been bad. I felt sorry for the poor woman, so I paid for her daughter's treatment in a private hospital. However, Anne considers me her enemy. Poor girl, she is so sick." This explanation actually made sense. Moreover, Sir Percival had a reputation of an honest and respectable man, so Laura and Marian believed him. 5. The next day, Mr. Gilmore, the family lawyer, asked for a private conversation with Laura. "Miss Fairley," he told her, "in less than 1 year, you will turn 21. Then you will become the owner of this house. After your death, it will belong to your children. However, if you don't have any, the house will go to your husband, Sir Percival." He paused for a moment, then continued, "You will also receive a large sum of money. In case of your death, your aunt, Madame Fosco, will get £10,000. You can leave the rest of the money to anyone you wish." "But I am so young," Laura exclaimed. "Is it necessary to talk about my death now?" "Miss Fairley, in my experience, it's never too early to talk about those things," the lawyer said. "You need to write a will now. This is my professional advice." "Then I want to leave all of it to Marian," Laura replied. "Are you sure? Maybe you wish to include someone else in your will?" "There's one man, but—" "I don't want to name him," the girl replied, and started crying. Mr. Gilmore hugged Laura and said, "Don't cry, my dear. We'll talk about it later." After that, Mr. Gilmore wrote a marriage agreement for Laura and Sir Percival. Then he posted it to Sir Percival's lawyer. The reply came quickly. "There is one thing in the agreement we need to change," Sir Percival's lawyer wrote. "If Sir Percival's wife dies, all her money should go to him. This is an essential condition." Mr. Gilmore was worried. He decided to discuss the matter with Mr. Fairley, Laura's uncle. "You shouldn't allow Laura to marry Sir Percival," the lawyer told Mr. Fairley. "I am sure his intentions are dishonest." However, Mr. Fairley didn't take his words seriously. "Gilmore, are you jealous of Sir Percival?" he asked, laughing. "He is noble, he is rich, and he is going to marry a beautiful girl. He has everything that you don't, and he is a perfect gentleman. I don't believe he can have any bad intentions towards Laura." Mr. Gilmore got very angry. "If something happens to Laura, it will be your fault," he exclaimed, and left the room. 6. Several months later, Laura and Sir Percival got married. They moved to Sir Percival's house in Hampshire. Marian also came to live with them. During the first weeks of her marriage, Laura's appearance and character changed. She became much quieter and more serious. As for Sir Percival, he was different too. He didn't seem kind and was rude to the servants. Laura's aunt, Madame Fosco, and her husband, Count Fosco, lived in the same house. Count Fosco was a nobleman from Italy. He was a very intelligent person with excellent manners. However, the sisters didn't like him. For some reason, he appeared dangerous. Moreover, it seemed like Count Fosco had some power over Sir Percival. Sometimes it even looked like Sir Percival was afraid of him. Meanwhile, Walter tried to decide what he should do with his life. His heart was broken. Finally, he was offered to join a scientific expedition to Honduras. They needed an artist who could draw plants and animals. Walter agreed happily and soon left England. One evening, Marion was walking past the library. There, Sir Percival was talking to his lawyer. Marion decided to listen to their conversation. "Lady Glyde must sign this," the lawyer said. "We need her money to pay the debts." "She will sign everything I ask. Now go away," Sir Percival replied angrily. Marion ran to Laura's room and told her everything. "I knew that my husband had money problems," Laura said in a low voice. "Some man came to talk to him recently. He was very nervous after the conversation." "That must be the man he borrowed money from," Marion guessed. "Please don't sign any document without reading it first. I'll try to get you out of this trouble." 7. Some days later, Sir Percival asked Laura, Marion, and Count Fosco to come together in the library. Laura sat at the desk. Marion and the Count stood behind her. "Laura, you need to sign this document," Sir Percival said. "Marion and Count Fosco will be our witnesses." He gave her a piece of paper. It was folded so that Laura couldn't see the text. "I need to read it first," Laura replied. "Mr. Gilmore taught me to never sign a document without reading it." "He was your employee. I'm your husband. I don't need to give you any explanations. Sign it now," Sir Percival said in an angry voice. Laura looked sadly at her sister, and Marion realized she had to help her. "As a witness, I won't allow it," she said. "Laura needs to know what she is signing." "You must respect me if you want to stay in my house," Sir Percival shouted. Marion jumped to her feet. She was ready to protect her sister at any cost. "Percival, please be polite. You are in the company of ladies," Count Fosco said in a calm voice. "I suppose it can wait until tomorrow." Sir Percival got quiet at once. The sisters stood up and left the room. Marion could hear the men arguing behind their backs. "Sir Percival could send me out of his house," Marion thought with fear. "It's awful how much I depend on Count Fosco now." Once the girls were alone, Laura told Marion about her relationship with her husband. "Sir Percival doesn't care about me," Laura complained, "and I couldn't help but wish Walter was with me instead." "My dear, please be careful when you say something like that. What if somebody hears you?" Marion replied. "My husband knows about my feelings towards Walter. When we argue, he uses Walter's name to hurt me," Laura said, and started crying. "I wish I never separated Walter from you," Marion said sadly. 8. One night Marion stood by the window, enjoying the warm, fresh air. Suddenly she noticed two red lights moving in the garden. "It's Sir Percival and Count Fosco," she realized. "They are smoking outside. But why?" The men were talking quietly. "I need to listen to their conversation," Marion decided. "Maybe they are talking about Laura." She climbed out of the window and landed on the porch roof. Now she could hear everything. "Percival, we are in trouble," Count Fosco was saying. "As you well know, we've borrowed a lot of money. Now we must pay it off."
Stay with us for part 2.
You enjoy English audiobooks? Share this one with your friends who want to listen and learn English through stories. And now, check out this awesome video.